Because if the porn is still saying BBC, it's racist. I don't care. So the idea of slave women kind of nursing white babies is really fascinating to me when they weren't even seen as full people. Sit down and have a seat, because like we gonna really get into it. See that right there? I'm not fixing it. Well, that's it.
This is Blackgirlthought TV, honey.
Hi. So it's been a while. We all know this. I have decided to challenge myself to record at least once a day because I'm in my head about it and I don't have time and I miss y'all. So we're gonna do a real quick beat and I'm gonna chat and talk a little because that's what I do. And yeah, whatever's on my mind, got things to say, cool. So actually today we're gonna be talking about slavery. We're gonna talk about that a lot because the people that know me know that part of my degree is African American Studies, which is basically like American history. How y'all trying to dabble into American history and forget about Black people? Fam. I know there are a lot of people that are like, American history shouldn't like focus on like, you know, like slavery and like whatever. And it's like, fam, how you gonna talk about America and not talk about how it all started and not talk about bringing Africans over? Like how? See that right there? I'm not fixing it. Well, that's it. That's what this is about. Me just really getting in front of this camera, saying what I needed to say. And that's that on that. All right, so I'm actually planning a few videos that are sort of like, I did like some research and like whatever. I'm wanting to do video essays because like I need to come with the facts because like here's what nobody's son is gonna do. I'm not gonna come up here and try to act like what I'm talking about is pure opinion when like, baby, I got receipts. I got receipts, like studies on studies. Like, don't play with me. Like, so I want to do like video essays and whatnot because like I don't have time for anybody kids coming for me thinking that I'm just sort of spewing opinions on the internet. Like, no, I'm spitting facts on the internet. Okay, so I'm actually making a video about like slave ships and like whatever. That's coming soon. But this is about me getting in front of the camera, sort of remembering who I am, that beach, and teaching and sort of doing my jam and saying what needs to be said for the kids because like ain't nobody saying what needs to be said for the kids. I'm saying what needs to be said for the kids. Okay, so yeah, you will notice that I sort of bleep out a lot of my cuss words. So like right now I'm about to talk like a bunch of and I'm gonna bleep out a lot of the cuss words because like your girl is trying to get monetized. Like if I'm gonna do this full time, your girl trying to get monetized. So if y'all want uncut versions, y'all gonna have to go to Patreon because like this sentence right here, all that is not gonna be on YouTube. Like I'm gonna bleep all that out. Uncut versions going on Patreon. And I'm actually like for Patreon, I'm thinking like how I'm gonna do it. But I definitely want a space for like people that want to like connect with me more and kind of like see these sort of behind the scenes and be all up in my business. Like that's cool with me. That's super cool. But you may notice that like I'm bleeping cuss words because like monetize. Like give me my niece. Like in the video I did of why I stopped doing YouTube, it's because like bruh, I got a video with over 2 million views. And you know how much I've been paid by Google? You know how much? $150. And I got mad views. So when you make that sort of content, that's the problem. That's what happens. I totally understand that. But what we not gonna do is try to like demonetize all my videos because like, don't play with me. So you will notice that I'm bleeping things out. Like, but don't worry, still has a filthy mouth. Like, I'm grown. Like, I say what I want. So yeah, slavery, cool. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. So I am reading at the moment. I'm reading a few things at the moment. Girl, listen. But just sort of random. I read a novel a week usually, and for like academic texts, kind of things that like I gotta read it and then like sit back and like let it sort of like marinate. I'm usually reading a few of those at a time, but when it comes to like just like a novel or something that's like a quick read, I do like one of those a week, just because like I like it helps anxiety. Reading, like sitting down and reading for a few hours a day, helps anxiety tremendously. Would recommend, absolutely. But I am reading, so this all started with me reading a book by I believe she was a history professor, and the book was about Thomas Jefferson, told from the perspective of his daughter Martha. So that sort of got me started looking for books about Thomas Jefferson. And he isn't someone that I kind of like exclusively like looked into. He is someone that I'm sort of now like learning about. Like I've never sort of like looked into him, kind of just like, let's see what little Tom was up to. Like I didn't give a Tom that much, but now I got questions, Tom. He was interesting, right? So one thing that like I find super fascinating about him is that, so his relationship with Sally Hemings, this is so I'm gonna add a clip here from the book I was reading, because there's a family tree.
So John Wells and Martha Epps, they have Martha Wells, yeah. John Wells was a slave master, and Elizabeth Hemings was his slave. So Sally Hemings was mixed race between, you know, these two people. And they had Sally Hemings. Now, Martha Wells, her and Thomas Jefferson, they have 2 babies. Yep. She dies early, and Thomas Jefferson is with Sally Hemings for the rest of his life until he dies. And they have 4 children. So his wife dies, and he's with her sister. Oogie. Oogie. Now, granted, the historians say that Sally sort of worked in the house and sort of was with him, right? And she didn't do as much work as sort of the field slaves, so she got preferential treatment. And Thomas Jefferson, he didn't marry Sally. She was his slave. He owned her. He owned her. He owned her.
His late wife Martha, like she died really early, and he took it really hard, and then like he went to Paris and like whatever. And his daughter Maria, he wanted somebody to like watch her in Paris, and they sent Sally Hemings to like look after her. And her and like Tom sort of built like something when they were there in Paris, like whatever. What's interesting is Sally Hemings was Martha's half sister. So Sally Hemings could very well have looked like Martha. Like she could have resembled his wife that died. Like, so that's really interesting to me. Also, what's interesting is Thomas Jefferson, he sort of believed that he was sort of all for like freeing the slaves. Like he sort of struggled with like having slaves, but also like fighting for freedom, and all men are created equal. How, bitch? How when you got slaves, bitch? So, but that plantation, Monticello, like literally, I watched so many of their videos. Like, fam, history documentaries and chill. That's literally my vibe. Like, I watch a lot from that channel. I watch a lot. I love that channel. The archaeologists, they found like buttons like on the plantation, and that's so like, that seems so small, but like it showed that there were like slave families living in like a particular part that and they find like ceramics and like dishes to show that like the slaves were sort of living in that particular location on the plantation. And I just love watching shit like that. Oh my god, it's amazing. I love that. So yeah, African American history is my fucking jam. Like, which is to say American history is my jam, because like you can't separate the motherfucking two, and if you try, baby, you dumb. So Thomas Jefferson is interesting because he was all for white men sort of being with black women and having access to black women's body, but he was not for black men having access to white women's bodies. Tom, get your shit together. What do you mean? Really interesting. So it's just the whole thing, okay? I love history because, listen, in my real life, there's not much drama. Like, I don't play that. Like, that's nice. Like, shit is super chill, okay? Hella chill. I don't play that. You're not about to come up in here with no unhealthy, dramatic foolishness. I don't play that in my space. So history literally for me is like, hold on, bitch, what happened? Like, wait, who said the fuck what? Like, I love history. And you get different perspectives, kind of different scholars and academics sort of saying different things, bringing different sort of ideas to the table. Like when you look at history from sort of a gender perspective, you get a whole new fucking history. Like, so it's always fascinated me. And it's always fascinated me to sort of read multiple sources. Obviously, if you're gonna be like on a debate team or something or be a good debater, you literally need to sort of have different perspectives so that you can sort of build a worthwhile argument. So that's my jam. Thomas Jefferson's fascinating. So this book, sort of, it was a historical fiction sort of book. So a lot of the things were sort of real, but the author kind of like put in kind of things that like may or may not have happened, kind of fill in the blank. So it was just a historical fiction sort of based on like the facts. So that got me interested in sort of like Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson. Like that got me interested in all of this. And I was already interested in that because I watched like a small thing on Sally Hemings and they were saying that like it is true that she said if she was gonna go back to America with Thomas Jefferson, then her kids needed to be free, right? So that was like, that's been proven. Like her son sort of like, he sort of proved, like he proved that, like that's proven, that happened. So what happened was when they were in Paris, they were actually free. So they literally, I believe it was Sally Hemings and her brother that were in Paris with him, and they could have been free. Like they could have completely been free. And Thomas Jefferson wanted her to like return, and he like made her a deal, and they were actually set free. Like on paper, Sally Hemings wasn't set free on paper, but like she was set free. But all her children were set free. Like when he died, they were set free. Like he kept his promise to her. So, and up until he died, he was pretty much with Sally Hemings. Like they actually found, like, I can put the fucking video here because that makes me super excited. They actually found a hidden room. They believe it was sort of Sally's room because it was connected to Thomas Jefferson's sort of like bedchamber. And like, that's just fucking amazing. Like that's amazing. I forget which year they found it in, but like that was a very big deal, like on the plantation. Like that was a really big deal. But it was just like a little room in the cut. And I'm sure like that's where Sally was. Like, so like reading that led me to read like texts written by kind of like historians about Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. And I'm reading one that's particularly about the Hemingses and about sort of their role in like all of this. And because there are a lot of people that are just like, Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings didn't have a like relationship and like whatever. It's been proven over and over again that they did, like that happened. So and the number one person to sort of like make those claims kind of like real, like that happened, was Sally Hemings' son. I think his name was Madison. I think it's something like that. So I'm reading a book by, it's called I forget what it's called. I'm gonna like add it here. So I'm reading this and it's all about sort of like their family history and just all about the Hemingses. And this author, she's amazing. She was able to actually travel to like England and kind of like take the history like really far back, like sort of look into Martha Jefferson's, Thomas Jefferson's wife, like look into like her family history. Like she really wanted to sort of follow like the bloodline. And yeah, so all of that is leading to right now. Now listen, this is what I really want to fucking talk about. And y'all like, bitch, you've been talking for like 15 minutes. Now get into it. Well, I'm gonna get into it, okay? The fuck, like I should have told you in the beginning of this, like that's nice. I'm gonna put this in the beginning. Sit down and have a seat, cause like we gonna really get into it. Like you going, that's nice. Sit down for a while. Like let's fucking chat. So, all right, here's what's crazy to me. In that book, right? I'm gonna give you the title of what I'm reading. I actually plan to do a book club soon because like we need to get the kids reading. Like y'all ain't reading books, we need to get the kids reading. Y'all acting up. I think I'm gonna have a whole channel that's dedicated to like a book club. Like we gonna get into it. For all y'all saying like, oh my god, come back, I miss your face, you might be like, bitch, I'm tired of you. Like, and if that's the case, well, don't watch me. You got control over what you consume. Baby, ain't nobody forcing you to watch all this goodness. That is me. All right, so I'm reading The Hemingses of Monticello. That is the one by Annette Gordon-Reed. Amazing. Amazing. All right. And I'm also reading, this is like what's going to lead me to talk about what the hell I need to say right now. This one is called Jefferson's Daughters. Three Sisters, White and Black, in a Young America. That's that book. And that's by Katherine Carrison. There's a part in here that is so interesting. And I knew that like anyone who sort of studies this or know even like sort of like a tiny bit about kind of American slavery knows that Black women actually nursed white babies. Like that was a thing, right? So in this, she's sort of taking us through the history of sort of Thomas Jefferson and how him and his wife sort of came to be and the slaves that they sort of owned and when they had their first baby, Martha, who sort of took care of her. It was a Black enslaved woman named Ursula. So this is where it gets interesting because wet nursing, kind of like breastfeeding, is such a sort of intimate thing. And like, so I don't drink animal milk because, ew, first of all. Also, the sex hormones are like inside of that milk. Like the hormones from the animal is sort of in the milk. And I'm just like, I don't want to be drinking no fucking cow sex hormones. Like, you got me fucked up. Like, I think it's gross. And what they give the cows, I can't. Like, I just think it's gross. But breastfeeding and sort of the milk is so sort of, I just think it's so intimate. Like, it's just so intimate. And so the idea of slave women kind of nursing white babies is really fascinating to me when they weren't even seen as full people. Like, how, fam? How? Like, make it make sense. I don't understand. Like, you don't really deem us as sort of fully human, and you don't really see sort of us as fully human, yet you will let us do something so intimate and kind of like nurse your babies. Like, so there's a part in here, which is kind of like what got me to sort of, I'm just like, I need to talk about it. Somebody need to fucking hear this. So Thomas Jefferson and his wife Martha sort of had a baby. Her name is also Martha. And they sort of ended up calling her Patsy. So this is just talking about how she was nursed by a slave woman.
The infant Martha gave her mother some cause for worry at first, however. She was a sickly, underweight baby, and her life may well have been saved by the good breast of milk provided by a newly acquired slave, Ursula Granger. Well-nourished little Martha soon grew strong, but Ursula's own baby Archie, born in 1773, died the next year.
So she was feeding this baby and her own son died. It goes on to say
that an enslaved woman purchased to bring her invaluable housekeeping talents to the work in progress that was Monticello was then put to work as a wet nurse to her owner's child was just one of the innumerable ironies of the workings of a slave society. The same system that declared Ursula unfree also relied on her literally to nourish and sustain itself.
Okay, bitch, let's get into it. So, make it make sense. Like, make it make sense. Just make it make sense. So, slave women are kind of seen as, I hate that I gotta be part of somebody's overcompensation with a loud ass car. I really do. Please, it's too much. I understand you working through shit, but please, can you do it somewhere else? Thank you, sir. So I mean, like, is that not insane? The fact that like Ursula was literally like not seen as a full person. However, she was able to nurse your babies. She was able to literally give your babies like her DNA, like her hormones, like, and your baby was sick and she may have very well saved your baby's life, but she wasn't deemed sort of full human and worthy of sort of a life outside of a plantation. Make it make sense. Just make it make sense. And I mean, this is literally no different. I'm gonna fucking punch this car. Please leave. Oh my god. Like, why are you so loud? Why? Why we gotta be a part of it? I don't have time today. I don't have time. I really don't. Like, whatever you're working through, please do it elsewhere. Okay, so honestly, I see this sort of idea of like black bodies sort of being here to serve like a specific purpose, like, but yet like we don't value you as a human. Like, girl, we don't see you as human. That shit is no different than people that literally see like black men as just like a penis. You don't see me as a human. You don't see me as sort of a value. Like, you don't really see me fully. Like, you literally see me as a body to be used for your purpose. Like, and there are literally some white women with the fucking audacity to be like, I really like only like black men, right? Like, and what they mean is like, if he doesn't have a big dick, like, they're not concerned, like they have no interest. And it's like, girl, you don't see them as human. You literally are sort of just playing out the ideas of your ancestors, girl. You racist. Like, please stop. Like, don't worry, there's a video coming on that, and there's a video coming on porn. This black man is like with my teen daughter. Like, the idea of like pure white women being taken advantage of. Oh bitch, I'm gonna get into it. Oh, I'm doing the research right now, and I'm actually gonna like include a lot of clips from like the actual performance. It's a lot. Okay, listen, it's a lot, and I really am gonna come for a lot of fucking sex educators. Okay, because my thing is, when you talk about ethical porn, are you talking about like porn that isn't? Because if the porn is still saying BBC, it's racist. I don't care who produced it. I don't care how ethical you think it is. I don't care if we're paying the sex worker directly. It's racist. So, what we doing? Let's talk about it. Cool. That's so great, because I got questions. Why aren't you talking about the fact that like there are elementary school kids that are literally sort of watching porn and kind of seeking it out, and there are like 12-year-olds, like people in sort of 7th grade, that are literally sort of reporting having trouble kind of like with pornography and like kind of being addicted to porn and having like an issue. Why aren't we talking about that? Like, let's talk about that. Also, let's talk about the fact that when you guys are sort of, when educators are sort of talking about sex positivity and like, yes, masturbation is so great, and like what, and porn is like, yeah, like, cool. You do know that there are children sort of like watching your content, right? You do know that you need to distinguish between adults being sort of sex positive and kind of like not feeling shame and all those things, and kind of 12-year-olds struggling with pornography and thinking that it's real. A lot of sex educators think that they can just sort of make a post like, porn isn't real sex, cool, but it's great, and consume it ethically, cool. I literally made on my, like, I made a post on my story like, listen, if you're following any sex educators, I really want to give you the information and the tools to kind of ask them like up front with your chest. That's nice, cool. Why don't you talk about racism in porn? When you talk about ethical porn, are you talking about race? Are you talking about that? Or what? What are you talking about that? And I'm gonna hurt feelings, and I'm ready. Let's do this. Cause y'all ready? So, like, it makes no sense that like one of the most popular categories in porn, and it's about sort of a trope that actually is why Emmett Till got killed. The idea of protecting white womanhood and white masculinity is to sort of conquer black bodies. And like, why are we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about the same trope and these same ideas that push that white women are sort of pure and kind of being like dominated by these big black bodies? Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about how popular it is? Why aren't we talking about that? And why aren't we talking about when black women are in porn? It is very much like, you know, black ghetto booty, like, right, which feeds into the same idea that black women aren't valuable. So why aren't we talking about this? And when you follow these white creators and they don't talk about the racism within porn, yet they fix their mouth to praise it and praise ethical porn, but yet don't mention the content itself, I got questions. I got questions. Don't play with me. Because porn is no longer this thing that's sort of like secretly stashed away. Now it's sort of commercial and it's viewed by billions. So what do we do now? What do we do now? What do we do now that sort of porn is so widely consumed? Now we got to talk about it. Like, now the thing that you wanted to avoid, we have to talk about. And I'm seeing a lot of sex educators that are very much like, it's no big deal, it's great, like, don't worry about it. Like, no, it's a no for me, sis. Like, no. No. So I went off track, but like, I'm glad y'all stayed with me. So we just did a quick little beat, like, you know, just a little something quick, like got the golden pop and highlight, hey. And yeah, I don't know if that was useful to anybody, but I'm challenging myself to get in front of the camera. So yeah, cool. I'm gonna put some of this on YouTube and the rest will be on Patreon, and that's just that on that. So okay. Let me know what y'all think about slavery and porn and stuff. Holy shit, I'm nerdy. Okay, well, bye. Thank you all for watching. Head over to my Patreon if you want exclusive and uncensored content, or if you just want to support your girl and her channel. Like, come on now. And follow me on Instagram. All right, love you guys. Bye.